Well, it's a hot topic ahead of the presidential election, with some states recently passing strict voter ID laws. These laws say all voters must have a valid government photo ID to cast their ballot, but that requirement can make voting difficult for some people in the U.S. Our legal expert, attorney Jay Davis, is here to shed some light on this topic. Jay, as always, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Great to be here, Andrew.
Now, explain to me Georgia's voter ID laws.
Georgia's law require a photo ID. That's basically what voter ID laws are requiring. And that can be a driver's license, a passport, or an actual voter ID specifically designed for that.
Georgia was, one of the first states out of a few here in the United States to pass this voter ID requirement. It's caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people say that it's going to disenfranchise people who don't have access to these government photos, these government IDs, for example, birth certificates, driver's licenses. Mostly, African Americans, poor white folks, and this is from PolitiFact. It's free for residents to obtain government ID. So why is this such an issue?
Well, it shouldn't be. I mean, people should be able to obtain a voter ID. It's free, like you said.
Here in Georgia, it's free, I should say. Other states, it may not be.
In Georgia, it's free. In other states, you don't even have to have one, so it just depends on where you are. But you can go down there. It's free. It requires a little bit of effort. A lot of people are saying, well, you need to go back when you could just go and present a Social Security card or anything like that. The problem with that is somebody goes and gets a Social Security card, their aunt's not going, their brother's not going, they just go and they present it. There's no check on who it actually is. And so there's a lot of potential for misuse there.
Now, the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, has argued that this brings back the poll tax, which was in effect back in the 1800s. Tell me what the poll tax was.
The poll tax was a charge actually to vote. To register to vote, you went and you paid the poll tax. That allowed you to get to the poll in order to vote. And in 1964, I believe, it became unconstitutional, was deemed unconstitutional because it disenfranchised people who couldn't afford. They didn't want whatever the price was, whether it was a little or a lot. Certain poor people were not able to come up with that and wouldn't choose to do that rather than eat or feed their family.
Is the ACLU's argument that the new voter ID laws are a poll tax, is that valid? Or?
Well, no. There's a poll tax in the sense that if it was an ID, driver's license where you had to go and actually pay for a driver's license, they may have somewhat an argument. But once you take the price out of it altogether, it's no longer a poll tax. But of course the ACLU would like to drive a van to the Rio Grande and pick up people swimming across from Mexico, take them to the polls and say they're Disney characters and ask them to vote. And if they don't allow them, they will swear it's because they're Latino or Hispanic.
And there have been claims, in the past election and in other elections that there have been cases of voter fraud. And I think that's why this voter ID controversy has come up. Now tell me, just a hypothetical, if my grandmother can't vote because she doesn't have a valid driver's license or a birth certificate, say for example, what can she do?
Well, she can go and petition for a birth certificate, or she can go and petition for a Social Security card. Those are items that you can use to start getting that are required for the voter ID.
Okay.
If she doesn't have a voter ID, she can always do a non-present or a preliminary vote ahead of time.
So there are options.
There's options to do that where you actually don't need the voter ID.
All right, Jay. Well, thanks so much. It's been an interesting conversation. We appreciate
Thanks, Andrew.
it. And if you have a legal question, you can send it to us and we'll respond to you on the air. You can email us at itsthelot41nbc.com.